Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. Have you ever noticed how conservatives and their so called facts and logic are really nothing more than a set of prearranged biases and values that they've always had, and it's just anecdotal evidence and a bunch of straw men? This is something that has actually been bothering me for a while, and it wasn't until actually kind of getting more into BreadTube and everything and watching various leftist streamers and bloggers point out, some of these people that I hadn't known about for the longest time. And now, unfortunately, I'm aware of the existence of Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin. I guess Joe Rogan. There's more, of course, but just I've now been made aware of these people, and especially the facts and feelings crowd, and it's really not facts and truth. It's misinformation, bad science, anecdotal evidence, and it appears to be their own personal biases and values masquerading as logic because they conflate the two. I'm a logical, rational being. I don't know. It's like, who was it? Descartes, who said, "I think, therefore I am," and they're mistaking this for "I think, therefore I am logical." And no, lots of people have done individual takedowns of these guys, and I'm not equipped or in the right mind space to do that. But I want to focus on the notion of what they claim is facts and logic. Okay, so logically speaking, if you believe in freedom for all people and all people are equal, then you should absolutely fight against systems of oppression that keep down people whom you may not agree with. So these people like Crowder, Shapiro, Rubin should absolutely be champions of the LGBT community and the rights of immigrants and the rights of refugees, because freedom should not be constrained to things like borders and unjust laws, right? Didn't Americans have a revolution over unjust laws and taxation without representation or something like that? So if you're really talking about facts and logic, then that is the position you should take. If it's about facts and a belief in a truly free market, then you should say no to subsidies for anything ranging from farmers, oil and gas subsidies, to including, subsidies that you would like to see for, I don't know, let's say something that I would like to see more subsidies for, like something involving green economy and startups, right? Like, oh, whoa, we shouldn't have subsidies for this. Let the free market decide. And then that also means we shouldn't have bailouts, right? And perhaps larger companies should be broken up so that smaller people get a chance to breathe and succeed, right? Should that not be the logical follow through based on the set of principles that you claim to adhere to? If it's about facts, climate change is a fact, then why aren't you guys supporting it? Oh, well, the science isn't clear. 97 or 98% of all climate scientists agree, and those who don't have faulty science. And this is instead what they do, right? They claim it's about facts and logic when really it's a misrepresentation of data. I took, because I'm a huge nerd, and I also hated having to do any kind of calculus class, but I needed a university level credit to graduate high school. So I took a statistics class in my high school. And it was dull as shit, but I'll never forget one of the first things that the teacher in high school told us, which is that the first thing that you need to know about statistics is that it's really easy to mess with them and misrepresent them. The second thing we learned was correlation does not equal causation. That's basically what I took away from my statistics class. And yet here you have people like Shapiro and Rubin and Crowder claiming to use facts when really it's bad data and bad science. If they really wanted to use facts, then they would overwhelmingly support like well-regarded news sources as opposed to news sources that just confirm their pre-existing biases. They would also absolutely support and call for the freedom of climate scientists to say and speak their mind on a range of issues. They would also, if they were, truly logical and cared about the facts, they would be as critical of their guy, be it Donald Trump or whoever's leading their party in their state, their city, whatever it may be. If they were logically consistent, they would be just as critical when these people mess up as when they do good. But they aren't, because at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist hellhole, and they have a market of frothing mad people that they want to please and extract wealth from. That's what it is. All the different sponsors, right? It's about getting the big names that within that scene. It's not actually about facts and logic. It's about money. It's about business. It's not about any real rational set of principles or discourse if you wanted to meaningfully have some kind of rational discourse. It's about making the other side look bad, because this is America and we're all about team sports and winning here. If it was about facts and logic, they would challenge their audience more often rather than just try and get a bunch of head nods from people. This is what's ultimately bothering me at the end of the day, is that it's this fake notion of, we only deal in truth here and facts. But if you scratch beneath the surface of what these guys are saying and what they're citing in their sources, it's really not. But no one's really got the time to dig for that, because at the end of the day, we're all bothered. We're all bothered by something because we recognize the inherent inequalities in our society, but we differ in where to lay the blame. People on the right seem to blame big government, taxes, illegal immigrants, and just liberals in general, right? People on my side of the spectrum blame conservatives for being silly and other nations and capitalism. We can recognize that there is an inherent inequality. So why can't we work on addressing that instead of finding the point of blame? And I know I'm guilty of this too, because basically every video I just complain and point out that capitalism is ultimately to blame for just about nearly every problem we have in our current society. I just really hate this notion of, facts don't care about your feelings. And yet these are deeply emotional people and they let their emotions guide them. And, there's a book that addresses this. I forget the author, but the book is called Everything is Fucked. And it's ostensibly a book about hope, except not really. But it's a great read, and I encourage everyone to read it. And it really points out that this is where a lot of these guys and a lot of people in general are operating from. We think we're using our thinking brain, but really it's our feeling brain that is in control. What makes me do these videos is my feeling brain, not my logical brain. What pushes people like Shapiro to get mad and think that he's being logical is actually his deeply held core set of values, which are, at the end of the day, just a form of emotion. But none of these guys seem to realize this, or talk about it, or actually be logically consistent and rational and factual and truthful. And at the end of the day, that is what absolutely infuriates me. And the fact that more of their vulnerable audience doesn't realize this or take pause to reflect on that and see that for what it is definitely what's bothering me today.